Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend today. We will now begin the Japan Automobile Manufacturers Association press conference. Today's conference will be in two parts. In part one, we will have presentations from the respective representatives of 3 of the 7 new priority challenges: hydrogen, logistics, and industrial calendar. In part two, chairman and vice chairmen will take the stage, and press conference will be conducted in the same format as before. Please note that Q&A session will be held in part two. Part one will be moderated by Mr. Yoji Matsuyama, Chair of the General Policy Committee of JAMA. Mr. Matsuyama, please begin. Hello. I'm Chair of General Policy Committee, Matsuyama. Let me share with you the discussion among JAMA members for the past few months, which is continuing until now. So let me share that with you. First of all, our automobile industry environment need to be understood, and the critical situation that we are in. So we started our discussion from there. In order to stay as the key industry, we need to enhance the international competitiveness and also enhance the supply capability to meet the customer's needs. So we confirm that those are essential elements. On that basis, in order to compete in the world stage, we confirmed what the strength of the Japanese OEM is, which is high quality. So using that as a basis, technological competitiveness, development lead time, cost, productivity are focused. So we decided that those will be the centerpiece of our theme. As we will introduce later, this is the new 7 priority challenges we've discussed based on these 7 points. In the earlier management meeting, we talked about with 14 companies' unanimous approval agreement, we have come to the 3 presentation, which will be shared with you today. And those on the stage are the very leaders of these themes. First is the implementing multi-pathway strategies to CN, hydrogen trucks for long-haul transport. Mr. Kimata, Mr. Ando, Mr. Ohata, the floor is yours. Thank you. We are the task force to penetrate hydrogen. I am Kimata from Toyota Motors, and I serve as the lead. So why are we working on hydrogen now? The rationale for JAMA's commitment to hydrogen is first, energy security, which is to prepare diverse options aligned with diversified energy landscape and enhance the industry competitiveness, which is the hydrogen-related technology that Japan is strong at, will be deployed globally so that we can enhance the industrial competitiveness. And next is decarbonization and GX. We will achieve decarbonization in mobility through widespread hydrogen use, including POVs, multi-pathway approach. On the other hand, US, Europe, and China are government-led approach in the hydrogen industry development and trying to become the leading player of the world. So Japan needs to accelerate these challenges as we speak. Next is the roadmap. Next slide, please. Japan's path to success and roadmap. Japan's path to success is to leverage Japan's 3 competitive hydrogen technologies to expand supply and demand through industry collaboration and enhance industrial competitiveness. In production, water electrolysis technology will achieve high-efficiency hydrogen production and stable operation, provide high service reliability, and aim to capture the global hydrogen production market. In transport and storage, Liquefied hydrogen-related technology will enable high-efficiency transport and storage at cryogenic temperatures and contribute to hydrogen procurement from a wide range of supply sources. In utilization, FC, fuel cells, and hydrogen mobility pioneer the multi-pathway approach globally and deliver performance and durability proven in the market. The roadmap to realize that is, first of all, mobility. As the core industry, will lead the expansion of hydrogen use across sectors, solving production, transport, and storage challenges through mobility. With increased hydrogen consumption, we can see lower costs, and this will be promoted. The uses will be promoted as an alternative energy source. And lastly, next page, please, JAMA's initiatives. To realize the hydrogen society, we will develop and implement hydrogen backbone network by public and private sectors to expand hydrogen use along arterial roads. Over the next 10 years, based on the benchmark of 1,500 heavy-duty trucks, 30 additional stations, and 1,000 yen per kilogram hydrogen price, JAMA and OEMs will work together with national and local governments, users, and station operators. We will develop a model case with proven economic viability and scale it nationwide. The penetration of hydrogen will utilize the demonstration work that we've conducted in the past. It will not be easy, but this penetration of hydrogen is something that is extremely important that the entire nation needs to address. So we will pursue this with all of your support. Thank you very much.
I am the sub-leader, Mitsubishi Fuso. I am Ando. And so Kimata-san explained about the overview, but I would like to make a complementary comment. As you know, the automobile industry and the auto sector, the usage of hydrogen started with the passenger vehicle, and now it is expanding into the commercial vehicle. So whether it is progressing, advancing fast is, still we are facing challenges. First is the number of the stations, and the number of the vehicles coming to the station is small, and also the price of the hydrogen it is difficult to increase the number of hydrogen stations. Also, from a user's perspective, the price of hydrogen is expensive. Also, the hydrogen station is not established nationwide, so it's the chicken and egg discussion. We need more vehicles for the stations to increase. Also, from a user's perspective, we need more stations for the proliferation of the vehicles. So, for an explosive usage expansion, in order to break through the situation, we need to focus on a certain area, limit the area, and create the hydrogen stations and also increase the users. So it needs to be controlled. And it is difficult to do that with the passenger vehicle, but with the commercial vehicle, we know the users and it is easier to control. So that is why we wanted to get aligned and create this breakthrough with the commercial vehicles. And as Kimata-san mentioned, and several figures was introduced, it is not a commitment by JAMA or by the OEM. This is kind of a figure that we want to be aligned with, and we are targeting to move towards. So that is why we need to create more stations, also the OEM, together the users, the national government, and also the local government. All of us need to work together in concert. It's not waiting for someone to take action, but all of us taking the action all together. That is what we are trying to achieve. Of course, it is a very hard challenge, but even more, we would like to cooperate in order to address this issue and also realize the societal implementation.
I'm also the sub-leader of this task force. I am Ohata from Hino Motors. Thank you very much. So as OEM, this hydrogen backbone network will be addressed with all of you. So the number of units, As customers introduce, this will be the number that will be accumulated over time. Right now, passenger vehicle, taxis, buses, and small and large trucks, these vehicles that use fuel, hydrogen as fuel, is expanding. But for further promotion and penetration, as OEMs, we need to meet customers' needs more by developing vehicles and ensuring production and supply. The large trucks, heavy-duty trucks that are used in backbones, is not just the hydrogen usage, but also the penetration of carbon neutrality. They are extremely important vehicles in these elements. So by working on this together, we can crystallize what OEMs need to work on. As I mentioned earlier, we cannot do this alone. So we want all of us to collaborate and develop the sustainable cycle so that we can implement this in the society. To realize the hydrogen society, this is a very high challenge, but we hope that this hydrogen backbone network initiative can be done in a public-private collaboration. Mobility will be at the forefront, and we will link this and deploy this to other industries. Thank you very much.
Next is enhancing competitiveness across the entire supply chain. Nagano-san and also Yoshida-san, please. Hello. I am Yoshida from Toyota Industry, and at the meeting in February, for the enhancing competitiveness, we said we will start with completed vehicles and also creating about the shared platform. That is what we have explained. On slide 1, as we explain, this is the factors impacting the Japanese economy, and we have streamlined and confirmed what are the objectives and the rationale of this initiative. We want to address the shortage of drivers, and additionally, the government is proposing the physical internet, and the goal is to have a resilient transportation and logistics and become a strong logistics nation. Also, to underpin and support the Japanese economy. So that is the rationale and the reasoning. Please turn to the second slide. So this is the image, and we have provided 2 examples. Top left is to support the circular economy, that kind of a logistics. In the past, until today, it was individual efforts and also delivering to the end process. As a result, they were diversified, and the raw materials and also the products, the recovery was very costly. For example, the resin, the recycling is only 20%. Against this backdrop, we are a resource-scarce country, and as we face the geopolitical risk, when there is a hike in the raw material, it will hit hardly the consumers and also the industry. We want to work and coordinate beyond industries, and in order to address this structural issue, we do want to make use of the reverse logistics so that it could be used as the positive logistics. So in this way, we will have the round-trip, loop circular logistics. It will lead to stabilized procurement and also stable supply. On the right is the second case, resilience in logistics. As Japan is prone to natural disasters, if the logistics lacks resilience, the daily operations may halted. With the joint logistics, we can have a more resilient and also a dual path, and also higher visibility will be realized. In that way, real-time detour and redistribution will be possible. The logistics network that we create, we want to deliver and supply the high priority items that are necessary. when the Noto Peninsula earthquake occurred, we used the e-commerce network in order to provide the relief supplies. As we are involved with the logistics in times of emergency, we want to have flexibility and mobility and be prepared. Third slide, please. This is about how we would like to move and advance the automotive logistics network optimization. This is for the completed vehicle logistics. At the moment, the OEM data, and we are using that to conduct a simulation. By summer, we would like to verify the effects and also the scope and the next step. And at the bottom, there is a diagram. For completed vehicle logistics, it uses the trucks and also the vessels. And to the neighboring region, it is transported by trucks. And so the round trip, the return trip, is what we would like to make use of. With the OEM, usually it will be an empty truck on the way back. So that is what we are doing. We will do the simulation, but we roughly believe that half of the trucks are empty, but the round trips could be utilized by other OEMs. Some other person can make use of the empty trucks. So this is what we would like to showcase. 28 end, we do want to create a sort of a systematic system, and towards that end, supplementary logistics and each of the improvements at the front end, we would like to work on improvements. I am Nagano from Honda, from the Logistics Subcommittee. We have the completed vehicles and also the motorcycles, and there is 5 groups in total. And excluding the secondary battery, the working group focuses on the joint logistics as a first priority. And the data, and together with the group companies and existing logistics companies, there are many issues to be addressed, although there are differences, but in reality, not much advancement is made. So with strong determination, we will start with the completed vehicle logistics in collaboration. In order to become a major logistics nation, we will be seeking your cooperation and we will engage in dialogue. Thank you very much.
Next is strengthening human resource foundations, revising labor calendar to improve the attractiveness of the auto industry. Mr. Sukegawa, Chair, please. Yes, I am Chair of Human Resource Subcommittee. I am Sukegawa from Honda. Thank you. So the productivity and the work style transformation, we are trying to revise the calendar, the public holidays and holiday calendar. From 2027 calendar, we will revise the automotive industry calendar, where public holidays have traditionally been treated as working days. The key change include designating certain weekdays as working days in Golden Week holiday and introducing Happy Mondays by making certain weekdays official holidays. As a result, we aim to transform the industry into a more attractive and sustainable structure, one that supports diverse work style, including increased days off. So along with the 7 key priorities, we will work as one industry to promote the work style reform so that the industry as a whole can improve the productivity. In the work style reform, the values are diversifying, so to align with this trend, we, vehicle companies, will need to offer various work styles. And as first step, in FY27, the Golden Week, so the constructions or the facilities or the switchover that tended to concentrate around the before the holiday will be leveled off. So we can stabilize the work and secure the talents and also train and educate the future talents. With this revision of the calendar, we have worked with the Auto Association and Federation, the parts manufacturers and logistics manufacturers and all the other players' intent need to be taken into account. So from today, we will have hearing with the relevant organizations so that we can move with this deliberately. The way of thinking on holiday, we, JAMA, understand the preference, and so we hope that this will be the first step towards a more desirable work style. In the future, we hope that we can achieve the productivity and stability and evolve into an industry that can have a better output. So that is the background. Thank you.
ありがとうございました。いずれのテーマも自動車業界だけでなく
So all themes are not just about automobile, but also relevant organization and other industries. We need to collaborate with other industry players. So we want to continue working in collaboration. So those were the briefing. And we will take questions in the Q&A session in the press conference later. The members who are on the stage will also stay, so you can ask any questions. So thank you very much.
Now we will arrange the stage, so please wait for a moment. Thank you for your patience. And Hashimoto-san, back to you. Thank you for waiting. Now we would like to start the second part, the press release, press conference. I would like to present first Chairman Sato Koji, Vice Chairman Yamaguchi Naohiro, Vice Chairman Suzuki Toshihiro, Vice Chairman Ivan Espinosa, Vice Chairman Mibe Toshihiro, Vice Chairman Shitara Motofumi, Vice Chairman Matsunaga Akira. The 7 will appear on stage. Please be seated. So at the outset, Chairman Mr. Sato will say a few words. This is Sato speaking. For those who have come visit, thank you for coming amid the bad weather. And this is the ordinary press conference, and we did have the board meeting, so we would like to convey to you. And recently, we do have some developments, the Middle East situation, and also the auto industry is facing a very tough, fierce situation amidst such backdrop. The issues and what we need to address is to secure a stable supply chain also, to provide and be prepared with solutions to the diversifying energy, and also be prepared for the resources. So that kind of prospect are necessary. Against such backdrop, JAMA, for each company to have competitiveness and also for higher productivity with strong determination, we do want to create good coordination. From that perspective, we have the new 7 issues that we have also addressed and discussed during the meeting for the new 7 priority challenges. And among the 7, we explained about the 3. Instead of just discussing and repeating discussions, we do want to create the project and put things into action and practice them. So while practicing, we do want to make adjustments. So we will focus on taking action. Also, when discussing, sometimes the aim becomes the objective, or maybe the objective is too broad and the outcome is too small. Sometimes we need to warn ourselves, verify, and we do need to show and showcase what the broader objective is for the Japan mobility. Later, from what we explained, hydrogen and also the joint logistics work reform, through the Q&A session, we would like to further explain more in detail. Also, this autumn, the Japan Mobility Show BizWeek, we are making good progress in terms of preparation. This year, the topic is, if you make the move, also the world will make a move as well. We would like to collaborate and work together with companies with a diverse approach to make a richer, abundant mobility society. So, based on the new 7 priority challenges, we will put them into action and practice, and we would like to have a multifaceted discussion. In any way, taking action with speed, agility is what we will focus on when we make preparations. And I hope we will be able to answer your questions at the Q&A session. Thank you. So now we will move on to Q&A session.
Today, the presentation is on behalf of JAMA, so we kindly ask you refrain from asking questions about individual companies. In order to receive questions from as many people as possible, we will limit questions to one per company. I hope you could understand. So, hydrogen logistics and labor calendar were explained. So, if you have any questions on those, we will take them first. First, from the venue. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Our staffs will bring over the microphone, so please state your company name and ask your question. So, the front row person, please. Journalist Momota is my name. So the joint logistics is my question, a related question. So if we look at this as the downstream of supply chain, the upstream parts and material commonization or standardization. In 7, JAMA rules are mentioned here. So in your discussion, basic semiconductor, for example, is standardized, or the recent example in the results briefing, cost and manpower and lead time is fundamentally revised and revisited. Use the standard parts of overseas was one example that you raised. So as JAMA, in planning and development, so it says that the scope is now being developed. But as JAMA, at this point, what kind of challenges does JAMA see and understand? And what is the linkage with the joint logistics? So if you could give us the overall image, where we are, the progress, and some specifics, please. Thank you very much. So Momota-san, thank you for the question. So the joint logistics and the upstream part, the standardization of parts and components, I think that was your question. From the global competitiveness perspective, we need to have that mindset, that perspective in all areas, and that is our basic stance as JAMA. And this is being discussed in many occasions. One is this logistics, the joint logistics. There are challenges, but from logistics perspective, in Japan, we have resource constraints and natural disasters and labor shortage and drivers shortage. So to address these challenges, of course, on the way there, the truck has cargo, but on the way back, 70% come back empty. So I think we need to have an industry-wide effort to improve the logistics. This is a societal challenge. And of course, if we can enhance the logistics efficiency, we can benefit from that. So there is big cause, and we want to speed up as much as possible and address these. First of all, finished vehicles and logistics. But this will be wide-ranging in the end. Next stage will be the repair parts, after parts, and the used cars, and eventually maybe import cars. So to do that, we need the data platform. But data platform, if we share data, how many units are manufactured where, such information will be known. So from FTC, Fair Trade Commission advice, in the data access, the confidentiality need to be controlled. We know we eventually need such kind of platform, and challenges need to be overcome. So we will continue working on this. Now, on the field, the way the vehicles are fixed is different among OEMs. And so we have to be have it loadable on the truck. So by summer this year, we will gather data and conduct a simulation and see how much efficiency we can gain in the finished car logistics, and gather data and develop a scheme, which may take a little more time. We're saying by the end of FY28, we want such system to be developed. So that's the kind of timeline we are looking at. So first is logistics. So to answer your question, Momota-san, other areas are still being discussed. If we decide on things in other areas, we will share them with you. Thank you. That answers your question. So the upstream side. So with the Parts Association, we are working on which area we should address. we just started the discussion.
3つの視点です。1つはスケールメリット
There are three perspectives. One is to enjoy the economy of scale
資源の安定調達に
and come up with a scheme that will improve the parts
競争領域にかけて
stable supply
ソ
and
ーシャルアロケーションをしっかり実現できるような
realize resource allocation.
というのはどこなのか
Identify the areas for resource allocation.
製品カテゴリー別にもちろん議論をする
And
んですが
we will discuss by product category, but there are also the ones that are
製品それぞれが持っている交差
cross-functional.
みたいなものが各 OEM で部品メーカーさんに対して出している指示
For example, the instruction on tolerance is different,
効率性みたいな
and there may be some inefficiencies.
でそういったようなところを自己会として
So as JAMA, we need to set standard
その指示に寄与することができる
to contribute to the 3 points that I raised earlier,
評価方法
and evaluation method.
ある品質
So the
を確
parts
認する手段というのが
performance and the quality checking or criteria
根本的に
is issued by the OEM, but the elemental parts
できるんじゃないか
can be aligned. Fundamental components can be aligned. So we are trying to do a deep dive one by one, and the materials
み
used,
たいなものに対しても例えば樹脂材料
the plastic, resin, and additives. We use various materials.
基準化できないか
Maybe that can be standardized as well.
としながら公開さんと
So with the Automotive Parts Association, we are trying to identify where we can work on.
ただ一方で
On the other hand,
料金法をしっかり
we have to be mindful of the anti-monopoly law.
ではありますので、丁寧にやっていく
So we need to be careful and cautious.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you.
それでは次の質問に
So we would like to take the next question. Please raise your hand if you have a question.
前から左から2番目の方。
The second person in the second row.
すいません、インプレス川内の谷
Impress, turning up. And I would like to ask about hydrogen. Hydrogen, this initiative is splendid. And the highway creating vehicles running on hydrogen. So for this to materialize, I thought there's no incentive system. It is a public and also private initiatives. Maybe there could be, for example, a discount for the highway fee, and I think everyone would approve to the idea of the carbon neutrality. But what is the public sector playing a role in this? I would like to respond to that question. Well, at the moment, with the hydrogen and the price, we do have the price difference gap assistance. So that is a scheme that is being adopted. With the price difference assistance, as it is, because if it continues, it will not be a sustainable scheme. What we have come up with in the past several decades, we have accumulated the know-how. So whether it is feasible and also whether it is sustainable, the unit
トンぐらいの水素使用量が
of the hydrogen, 250 tons, if it is used, we do have the economic rationale and it is feasible. And we need that to be scalable.
モビリティ領域だけで
We are going to start with the mobility, but it is not enough. So we do also need the off-takers to be involved, also the suppliers. We all need to coordinate so that the total scheme, we have everybody on board. And with the government and the administration, what we are doing is, in many ways, we are working on and revisiting the system. There is not an established system, or there could be the existing system being an obstacle. Now we have more knowledge of that. So, for example, the standards for creating the infrastructure, the rules for the quality-related control. We do need to look at the realities and also deregulation if necessary. We're working together with the public sector. Also, for the further implementation and expansion, the off-taker, also that for this scheme to be sustainable, we are seeking for what will be the most appropriate way of support being provided. That is my response. Thank you.
で次の質問に移りたいと思います。
Next question will Please raise your hand. The front row, second from the back. Thank you for today. Kuruma no News, Kaneko is my name. So I have a question on the automotive calendar. Earlier, you said from today onward, the related organization, industries, you will have a discussion, thorough discussion. On the other hand, in the material, it says as the first step in FY27, the Golden Week and Happy Monday are the two concrete examples. So from FY27, the companies that are JAMA members will do this all at once, or the ones that can start will start first? If you could elaborate on that point. And you want to become an attractive industry. So in what way do you think you can take measures to become more attractive? If you could elaborate on that as well. Thank you. First of all, automotive industry with OEMs at the top, there are many parts, manufacturers and business partners. So first, OEMs need to be well aligned to deploy this measure across the board. So first, OEM will be the leader, take the initiative. So the OEMs who can do this, it will not be a forceful measure, including the productivity and efficiency and the headcount. The ones that are ready will start first. You may need to stock up, secure enough inventory. Maybe that's a factor. But including all that, we will have the OEMs take measures to become a more attractive industry. Automotive industry during the high economic growth era, in the Showa era, quality and the production efficiency were focused. And so the work days were concentrated as much as possible. Because of the trend of the times, we are now seeing the work style reform and bigger diversity. And what we recently hear is the staff saying they cannot spend much time with their family members. The calendar of the automotive industry is different from other industries. We hear voices that this need to be addressed. So first, the Golden Week holiday is the biggest difference. Summer and year-end New Year's are fairly well aligned among all companies and industries, but Golden Week holiday is where the automotive industry is different. Because of our reasons, we use this long extended holiday to replace or upgrade our facilities while we're on holiday. So that's why. But with the changes of the times, we have technology where this can be distributed. So if we want to, if we put our minds to it, we can do the construction and the work. So we need to use ingenuity and be creative and try to align ourselves with the standard calendar as much as possible so that the staffs, workers can take holiday and spend time with their family members and refresh themselves and be motivated and have high productivity in their day-to-day activity, using AI, of course. So we will pursue this initiative. We want staffs, people to think that automobile is fun, it's inspiring. We hope OEM can take the lead to appeal that so that we can convey this message, manufacturing is fun, so that this can lead to the enhanced power of the country as a whole. Thank you.
So we would like to take the next question. Please raise your hand if you have a question. in the middle, the first row.
ありがとうございます。日経新聞の浅山と申します。
Nikkei Asayama speaking.
まず、こちらの、カレンダーについて
About the calendar, I would like to ask a little bit more in detail. So Golden Week, holiday, and also the Happy Monday will be introduced. So for the total days account, it wouldn't change actually. Am I right? So I would like to check the number of holidays. And what about beyond 27? I don't know when, but when are you going to totally shift to the standard calendar? And how many holidays would that increase? So I would like to get a better image of what this change would imply. Another point is that also related to hydrogen. The national strategy of the Japanese government is, well, hydrogen is also positioned as one of the strategic areas. And the Prime Minister, there are 17 sectors that are a focus, and mobility is not positioned as the 17 focus areas. What is the take of JAMA for this positioning, and how would you like to lobby to the government? Can you explain your position? Well, first, I will respond about the holiday and the calendar question. For FY27, the number of holidays, the day off, will not increase. And in the future, whether we intend to increase the number of holidays, I think that is a separate discussion. At the spring labor negotiations, there were some manufacturers OEM that increased the holidays, but some workers would say that other days would mean a more intensive increased workload. So there's a lot of differences in views, and each company would have to discuss internally together with the employees and also with the trade unions. We'd like to have an in-depth discussion and in which way we can increase the number of holidays and the balance of the working days. Through that discussion, we do want to come up with a policy. I think it is a separate discussion. How many days, holidays we would want to create. That is my response. I would like to respond about the hydrogen and also the Prime Minister Takaichi's focus area. For hydrogen, I think there is a change of trend. The green energy, there was a focus as a green energy as part of a means to achieve carbon neutrality. But now it is more of an energy security related topic. As a nation, we need a variety of energy, and as a source to underpin the energy, hydrogen is positioned as one of the essential energies. So not only JAMA, but also we are coordinating with the Hydrogen Association so that within the 17 priority areas, the energy area, as part of a very essential energy for the national government, I think we are going to make proposals for the policy making. And about the 17 focus areas, the mobility, the definition of the mobility is not positioned clearly. I think that reflects the nature of our industry because it is a very vast industry, and it's not that mobility exists in one vertical, but I think in all 17 focus areas, mobility is related, and there is room that mobility to be related. So mobility should not be an independent vertical, but I think that mobility should play a role as an exit strategy for all of the 17 focus areas. And the speed of the Takaichi administration is very fast. We would like to also respond in a very agile way so that we can create policies for the exit strategy. Thank you.
We will take the next question. Please raise your hand if you have questions. The front row, please. Beskar Terasaki is my name. Thank you so much, as always. I have an overall way of proceeding with the discussion. So from last time, the biggest change from last time is the leader company is now decided. Now the Human Resource Subcommittee and Logistics Subcommittee members are here and explained to us. So in this conference, Chair Sato raised the 7 important points, and the chair and vice chair decided on that and brought that down to subcommittee, he said. So 2, 7, and 4. So subcommittee are decided, and they are now in the hands of the subcommittee. If that's the case, chair and vice chair, how will you discuss this, and how will this be brought to the subcommittee? So how are the discussions being held, and what will it be look like in the future? Thank you very much. So let me first start answering your question about the overview. So yes, it is now in the hands of the subcommittee. Different themes have different discussion speed, so we will not wait for everything. The ones that come to the subcommittee will start running. So that is the style. Therefore, the 3 themes today are now in the hands of the subcommittee, so it's now in the implementation phase or execution phase. So we have assigned people in charge to move things forward. On the other hand, we do not want the means to become the purpose. We need to identify the goal. We have to have a clear goal in mind. And so as mentioned today, autonomous driving that Japan aspires for. What is the technology for Japan? And what is a desirable transport society in Japan with the progression of infrastructure? How should we move forward? This will be important in thinking of the penetration of autonomous driving. It is a conceptual range, so we did not talk about this in today's presentation, but for each theme, we are discussing thoroughly, also with speed in mind. So we are trying to ship out what we can ship out from our
Yeah, maybe I can add to that. I think, I'm fresh member in the JAMA, and I'm really impressed by the openness of the members and how quickly the topics are addressed, to be very honest. All the leaders that are joining the JAMA are sharing openly and actively their opinions and their views. That's why we could agree on some of the initiatives already, which, as Sato-san said, they are out and running. With active participation from the teams of the companies. So with this, we ensure the alignment to the goal and that the teams are having the right guidance and direction. And as mentioned also by Satsan, today we had the opportunity to discuss many of the concepts and goals, again, with openness and listening to each other and having clarity of what we want to achieve as industry to support the society and to support a stronger Japan in the future. So these are the overarching principles I believe that the JAMA has, and we are reflecting the same approach into each of the activities that have been identified as the challenges. Again, I'm impressed with the speed and openness, and I will continue supporting the JAMA very actively. So this is what I see, and I can tell you because I'm fresh, I'm coming from outside, and I'm really impressed on how we are moving. Thank you.
はい、ありがとうございます。私はまだ新しいメンバーでありますが、このメンバーにおいて非常にオープンに今この議論が行われていることを感銘を受けております。このトピックの取り上げ方、進め方非常にオープンであるというふうに考えております。そして非常にこのリーダーたちがこのオープンに活発にその情報を共有しているということであります。現在このしっかりともうすでにこの会社が積極的にその参加をしている。そしてもうすでにその出ているものからまずは落とし込んでやっているという形であります。ゴールをしっかりと足並みを揃え、方向性を揃えて、そして進めているというふうに私も受け止めております。本日もコンセプトやそして目標、目的について話し合うオポチュニティがございました。それらを聞いて、そして明らかにこれから業界として何を達成したいのか、また社会をそして強い日本をサポートするために何をやっていきたいのかということを明確にしているということであります。これがまさにこのJAMAの原則でありまして、その同じアプローチをそれぞれ ぞれの活動、個々の活動にも反映しているという形であります。繰り返しになりますが、このスピード感、そしてこのオープンな姿勢というものを私も感銘を受けております。これからも JAMA を全力でサポートしていきたいと思っております。フレッシュな新しい立場ということで、よりこれを今感じておりまして共有させていただきます。
Yamaguchi speaking, and I was the chair of the General Affairs, and the former chair, Katayama-san, we had a very open and frank discussion. We had the prior 7 challenges, but in terms of the timeline and the goal, probably we didn't have a firm consensus and started. But this time, with the new 7 priority challenges, as Chairman Sato mentioned, the goal, the timeline is shared with more clarity, and we are starting with any of the initiatives that we can start with and put it into practice and action. I think it is more realistic in terms of addressing the issues. In the past, sometimes too much of the discussions was directed to carbon neutral, but now we have another discussion topic, which is the energy security. It has emerged as a very important discussion topic. So now I think we are moving more faster with the former chairman. I don't think that the former chairman would be listening to my comments, so I think I'm safe with what I said.
Thank you. Next question, please. Third from the front, to the left, please. Nikkan Jidō Shimbun, Fukui is my name. Thank you very much. I have a question on hydrogen. So hydrogen mobility is a strength of Japan. I understand that well. In the next 50 years, 1,500 units and 30 stations and 1,000 yen. So this is an aspirational target. At the outset, you mentioned passenger vehicle hydrogen went well, but it did not penetrate well, and we had some difficulty. We had some experience in the past. Especially hydrogen stations are now idle, are underutilized. So we have this difficult situation now. How will you break free from that? So I would not say failure, but based on the difficulty we experienced, how will OEMs collaborate and address and achieve the targets for the next 10 years? If you have any concrete methodology, we'd like to hear. And given the Middle East situation, there are issues that individual companies are addressing. But as JAMA, what have you discussed on what you will do as JAMA? In the medium to long-term perspective, the supply chain will be supported, you mentioned earlier. But now, not to stop the supply chain, what are the steps you're thinking of, the liaison as JAMA? In the downstream, the oil for the parts production is lacking, and engine oil is running short, or the thinner for the metal steel sheet is running short. As OEM group JAMA, I'm sure you are discussing with other groups to move forward. So if you could share with us what you are discussing. Yes, let me talk about hydrogen. The most important point is hydrogen to have a business model that is economically feasible as an energy. And in the mobility domain, hydrogen usage is smaller than other industry sector. And the challenge here is the higher investment predictability and higher usage to lower the hydrogen price. So first of all, mobility needs to be the first penguin and show that hydrogen is effective as an energy. We need to build the infrastructure, the industry base. But the volume is not so large. And so the next sector, like the electricity, utility, or steel, these large hydrogen usage industry, how we can hand the baton to the next industry is the key. So these 2 points need to be worked in a set. Therefore, as JAMA, what we can do need to be distributed or mentioned to other industries and see how the hydrogen usage can be spread to all sectors. We need to draw a big picture. And Middle East? May I talk about Middle East? So OEM has BCP, working on BCP. And therefore, as of now, the industry is not facing a big disruption at this point. Because of the alternative procurement and the release of the stockpiling led by the government is now saving us from the emergency. And so we thank the government for all these actions. Naphtha-derived priced goods and lubricants are running short. Some people are worrying about the shortage, but the government is saying that the sufficient amount is being secured. So, as JAMA, risks are the distribution, the supply chain stoppage, or the imbalance. So to avoid that from happening, we will continue communicating with the government and related industries to take the right steps. Of course, the automobile companies are okay so far, but the entire supply chain, we are not in a situation where we will face short-term disruption. We will closely watching, but we will not see a short-term impact. The biggest impact is seen in the closure of Strait of Hormuz. Some manufacturers, the automotive production for Middle East is declining, and this is a big challenge for us. So we will work with the government and gain information and take quick steps and grasp accurate information. It's not just the Middle East, but the raw material cost increase is another challenge. It's difficult to separate this from the Middle East situation. Of course, they're related. The raw material price is soaring. So for this, first, we need to make sure the procurement is secured so that we can continue the production. So that will be addressed by JAMA. And in the end, we will work with the suppliers from the optimal transactions perspective. We will discuss how we can absorb the impact amongst ourselves. So that is where we stand.
So also, I would like to ask an additional question respond related to the NAFTA. For there is visibility, and the government is saying that they have ensured the total amount necessary for the entire nation. We make sure that in the pipeline that there is no disruption in distribution. Also, the NAFTA, the production increase and also import from other than the Middle East is increasing. So I believe that direction-wise, we are securing and ensuring the supply. But there should not be, well, we do observe some panic buying and purchasing more than necessary. So one of the benchmark is going to be the purchase amount of last year. So we would request that for the entire supply chain that it acts in a discipline so that they And also that is what JAMA as well as METI has been requesting the industry to act in discipline so that not in the pipeline there is some disruption in distribution, so imbalances in distribution. So that is what we would like to continue to ask. And in May 12, from the Agency of Natural Research, there was a request and it was immediately circulated to the procurement as well as the service subcommittee. And as Chairman Sato mentioned, so making sure that there's not the panic buying or purchasing too much. So we have circulated that message within the industry. I would like to add that.
Time is running out, but we want to take questions from the online participants, so we will appoint the questioner. If you are appointed, please turn on your microphone and mention your media name and your name and ask questions. So please use the raise hand button on the PC if you have any questions. Online participants, any questions? Are we okay? Okay, so we'll come back to this room. So we have little time left. We will take one last question from the floor. Please raise your hand. So toward the back, in the center, please. Yomiuri newspaper, Otsuka is my name. I have a question on EU, the Industry Acceleration Bill, IAA. So in EU, EV production will be the condition to receive the public support. So that is the bill. Once this is passed, for UK from Japan, the exports to UK, this will impact the UK Japanese players to the EU. So how is JAMA taking this information? It's still a bill, so is there a movement for a revision? Anything?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So thank you for the question. It's true, as you said, that it's still a bill and there's still clarification needed. But we have identified the risk that non-EU built products have, including Japan-built product. So this is a serious concern for us, as you can imagine. JAMA's approach is to support an open and fair trade that allows a stable flow of product. We want to provide, as an industry, environmental friendly products that are attractive to consumers, to our consumers in Europe. And as such, we are addressing this through the government. We have close interactions with the Minister of Economy, and we know he's supporting very actively and has informed our concerns as industry to the EU. So the dialogue continues, and we are monitoring very closely the situation. So thank you for the question. Yeah.
ご質問いただきましてありがとうございます。ご指摘いただきました通り、こちらの産業加速化法についてはまだ法案の段階ではありますけれども、こちらの日本の自動車業界にもたらされるリスクということについては認識をしております。EU 外で生産されている、これは日本で生産されている自動車も該当しますけれども、こちらが恩恵を受けられないということで、JAMA としては引き続きオープンで公正な貿易通商が行われるようにということで訴えをしていきたいと思っております。環境に優しい高品質な自動車というものは消費者のこれは恩恵になるということで、欧州の消費者にも同じであるというふうに考えております。JAMA としては、自公会としては政府を介してそういったことを発信し続け、そして経済産業省とも連携をしながら日本政府そして自公会としての懸念を伝えております。引き続きこちらについては政府とも連携しながら懸念事項を伝えていきたいというふうに考えております。
Thank you very much. I think you may have more questions, but in the interest of time, we'd like to close this Q&A session. With that, we will close JAMA press conference. Thank you very much again for your participation.